Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ramo Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ramo Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ramo Hare Ramo, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are back again
Hare Krishna, I'm back.
after a
Hare Krishna.
fantastic
Hare
Saturday
Krishna,
night.
Mataji Danut
Bye.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Ishwari Radha, Hare Krishna, Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, Hare Krishna, Priyanka, who's joining us here.
Hare Krishna.
Danvat Pranam, so good to see you. And today we have joining us on Facebook, Dilip Bhai, in the order of appearance, we have Dilip Bhai Patel, Prabhu Achyuta Radhe Mataji, and Shraddha-devi Dasi. Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday, in this Sunday morning or Sunday evening for some of you. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And somebody joined us in the dark. Who is that?
Hare Krishna,
Put the
Mataji.
light now.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam. So good to have you here, Soni. Okay, and Varshana Mataji, I think, is joining us. So let's see, who did I? Anybody? Dandat Pranam, Varshana Mataji. All right, let's get going then. I'll start sharing my screen here with you, and you need to tell me whether you can see my desktop number 2. And on that, the Vigyapti Panchika prayers.
Yes, Mataji, I got it.
Okay, you see that? And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that you can see it here. And then we'll get started with the prayer, the pranam to the spiritual master. And let me see if I'm recording this conference call for posterity. Do you see that? Well, if I share, then I can't see it. Okay, yes, we are. Okay. Om Agyan Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi cha kaschana parihare pilachame kim bhruve purushottama yuvati nam yatha yuni yunam cha yuvato yatha mano viramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai Bhumau Skhalita Padanam Bhumirevaavalambanam Tvai Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvam Aham Sada Twadiyam Niti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadhishe Karunamritavahini Kripaya Nij Padabja Dasyam Mahyam Pradiyata. Okay, so let's get going with the translations. And we'll have to create a reading order over here.
Already created.
Oh, you're there? Okay, fantastic. I didn't see you on my list. Thank you so much, Suyash. What will I do, Prabhuji, without you helping me here?
But we'll do without you.
All right. So I also need to. Okay, can you read the reading? Can you read it aloud, Prabhu?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Garima Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Vijayalakshmi Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Sonia Mataji, Suyash, Shraddha Mataji.
Okay, good. Here we go. And once again, coming back to the Vigyapti Panchika prayers, and the first in line can go ahead, start reading the translations.
O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who goes next? Garima, can you read today?
Garima Mataji.
Yeah. Do we have her soon? Garima?
Yeah,
And-
Mataji, I will read next time. Can
Okay.
someone go?
Okay, good. Go ahead, next in line. Priyanka.
Okay, Yeah, Mataji. Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
Vijayalakshmi Mataji. Vijay Mataji. We have her soon? Yeah, she's there.
Oh,
Ooh. Can you hear Vijay Mataji? I'm not able to hear.
Neither.
okay.
Yeah.
I got something.
Okay.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
All right, good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O Shrimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And I also wanted to announce that we have been joined by Arukni Mataji and as well as Sadhna Mataji on Facebook. Okay, so reflection time, the best time of the day. What do you say about this that you read just?
Karunamrit Vahini.
Karunamrit Vahini, Varshana Mataji?
Yes, Mother. She is so Karuna.
And
Mercy.
why are you looking for that?
Mano me ramatam tvai.
Mano me ramatam tvai. Good.
Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu.
Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu, she is Kathy. She took that spot.
Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvamaham Sada.
Very good. And if you are on Facebook, you can also share your reflections by typing them in. There might be a little delay, but if you can do that. What else? Any other?
Radha Vrindavanadi se Karuna Amrit Vahini.
Karunamrita Vahini. Okay, 2 people went for that. Right.
I didn't know the sloka, but that Govinda and Radharani, keep me your servant.
Keep me. Actually, I was thinking about you. You read that verse today, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about you, and she's saying, Radharani, make me your servant. And Radharani, I was just thinking that Radharani is so famous for being the best cook in the world, right? In the whole universe, in the whole creation.
I
Both
hope I
spiritual
can do like that.
and yeah, they
Okay.
say that she prepares about 1,000 dishes for Krishna every day. And then the dishes have not repeated since. So that's the kind of,
I like
kind of a cook Radharani is. And I was just thinking of all the nice things Vijaya Mataji is going to prepare. So, when you, this life is a preparation. And so we have been given this human body to prepare and go back to Godhead, get out of this cycle of birth and deaths, which I think all of us have been given sufficient sufficient experience in this material world for not to want to live over here and then go back to Godhead.
I always pray Govinda and Radharani that give me my just these hands and this body is for serving.
Yeah,
And
you
if
go.
you can do something that pleases you, both of you, then
Yes,
my
that's
life, that is enough for my life. So I
successful.
always pray, my eyes are looking for you, my ears are listening to the kirtan. I love kirtan and then service. That's all. That's
Exactly.
why I feel that. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And so one of the things that also happens here is that the service that you're doing here, this material world and this material body is also given to you so that you can practice. You can practice in this world what you're going to do in the next world, like that. So Krishna has got. So we know what Vijay Mataji is going to do.
Thank you.
Over there. She's going to cook. Yeah. Any more reflections? Okay. Are we ready to go to the next prayer then? And let me see if there are any reflections here. Yeah. Vijay Lakshmi Mataji. Okay. Sadhana Mataji, from our ISKCON of Silicon Valley, she's saying that Vijay Lakshmi Mataji is a great cook. And I second that. She comes on Wednesday afternoon to help cook. Yeah. So
I wish I'll come there and then do the service also.
There
Here
you go.
I'm doing something like that.
There you go. Yeah. So you have to be lucky if you go there early in the day on a Wednesday evening. Then there might be some remnants from the afternoon bhoga and Raj bhoga, and then you'll get to taste the savories there. Yeah. So our loss is, Philadelphia's gain, at least for this time. Yeah. Yeah. And welcome, Bhakta Edwin, for joining the call. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Isn't it fantastic that because of Srila Prabhupada, we all are here today? Isn't that a fantastic thing? Yeah. It is amazing.
I always admire him that in that age, you see, age of 70 started and he started writing. Hats off to him.
Hats off, yeah.
Not only writing, coming here with all the heart attacks and everything daring like that, an unknowing place, culture is entirely different here. So that is really nobody can do like that, Mother.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been here for 25 years and I'm still trying to get adjusted to the culture. But you do it like fish. Fish takes to water, and it's not even that it's not even that it was a different culture in the sense that, here I eat with silver spoons and there they eat with golden spoons. Or, I eat with chopsticks and I eat with this. Was not that. It was, the cultured Prabhupada meeting the uncultured, the hippies. It was the extremes that he came to.
Extreme.
Yeah. I mean, like once you become a Brahmana, which of course Prabhupada was, cleanliness is a very high quality of a Brahmana, right? They clean, they take shower 3 times a day.
like this. While cooking, people lick like that, it's something is not in our culture at all.
Yeah, not in our culture at all. Yeah, I was watching a show, and then the lady who was teaching how to cook, and she said, "Okay, now you put salt to your taste," and then she took the ladle and took it like that. I was like, "Ooh!" Yeah. Second thing, which was very shocking, is that we respect books so much, and we actually make a distinction and a discrimination, and this is a sign of an active intelligence, because the job of intelligence is to discriminate between good and bad, between right and wrong, that this is vidya, this is avidya, this is clean, this is dirty. That distinction has to be made. So, and that will come from cultural momentum. What your parents are teaching you, what you're watching your peers do. And so I was very surprised when my daughter started going to school. She would have a backpack, and in the backpack would be the books, and then the shoes also with the books. I could not even imagine. And she said, yeah, everybody does that. I was shocked, we won't even do it to a mathematic book or a calculus book. Forget about doing it to a Bhagavad-gita. People, wrap it up in nice cloth and, cover it and keep it. And when they bring it down from the shelf, they bring it out so slowly and nicely like that. So,
Mataji, that reminds me that once we went to get a picture done, and my husband and my height is a little different. So they asked me to stand on something so that we are on the same height. And he gave that guy, he gave me a telephone directory to stand on. And I said, how do I stand on that? I'm not going to step on that. To me, it's a book. I mean, I can't do that.
Yes. I mean, like, yeah. Yeah, for most, like, what is a telephone directory used for?
Now we're coming back to this one only.
We will.
Not They're giving namaste and those things, those are all different culture, but I don't know how Prabhupada ji
Adjusted.
he adjusted to that.
He adjusted to that, exactly. Yes. So
this was given by my mother to wrap Bhagavad-gita in this.
Wow, look at that. Yeah. So it's all about.
The other day, that swastik makes me some comment on that. The other day, somebody sent me I think WhatsApp or something. Some friend sends me, and this swastik means like that Saptarishis and the sky. They change the directions and the spring and fall like that. So that's what that means, swastik.
I don't know.
That's what they say.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I just know that if the swastik is done the wrong other way around, then it means something else.
Saptarishis, in the sky, they have they'll change the directions like that.
There you go. Oh, I see what you mean.
That's what
I saw that message, Mataji.
There you go. Both are fans. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. So good. Yeah. So I was just talking about Prabhupada and talking about how things keep coming back. You said that all the things are coming back and they are bound to come back. And we saw in the evening class yesterday, what did we read about cycles?
Yeah.
Okay, first question. What did we read about last night? What was the main topic we were discussing? Time. Yes, correct. We were discussing time, right?
Kal and time are the same.
Right. And then what else did we talk about in the time?
We talked about 4 yugas.
4 yugas, exactly. And what was it that we talked about the yugas?
Austerity and what is important that bull on 3 legs and 4 legs like that.
Okay, so we talked about some of the characteristics that keep disappearing with each yuga as it comes, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Kali Yuga, we had that truthfulness, but which I don't know. That's also going. I spoke about that.
That's the only thing which sort of remains still with us. Yeah. So
Hare Krishna Mataji, this question came to my mind even in the morning, that how is a truthfulness there in Kali Yuga? We don't find anybody.
It is still there, right? People are still
very little.
Everybody's bad.
Very
right?
little, Mataji. Very little.
Very little, yeah.
But we do have. Not all of them, but some places we do have truthfulness.
Yeah, there's truthfulness, yeah.
But I think that's the easiest path, at least in Kali Yuga, right? The first and absolute truth is we are soul and Krishna is our protector, right? So if we accept that truth, then that's the end of Kali Yuga, at least inside our mind.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of putting it. Yeah, that's a fantastic way of putting the truth. Yeah. That going after the absolute truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, like the definition of truth can be like twisted and turned according to people's own convenience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly, Mataji. That is what I wanted to say. That Khyati Mataji, there are hardly a few people in Krishna consciousness or in other religious paths. Okay, if you all put all together, even then, I think the percentage will be very little.
Very little.
Yeah, but imagine if it's all gone.
Yes, I agree with
that. Imagine if Prabhupada translated everything wrong. He was not truthful. He did not write Bhagavad-gita as it is, right? As it is means being truthful. Right? right? As it means that, whatever that person said, you're going to be true to that and going to repeat it like that.
That's what Corona is showing us. Now,
Yes.
see, because the animal killing and other things, it's nature,
Exactly.
playing with the nature.
Right. And one of the things that I wanted to again bring up from yesterday's meeting was that we talked about the yugas, which Suyash Prabhu brought up so nicely. We also talked about that they cycle, right? There's a cycle of yugas, they keep on cycling. So cycling is a concept that always is going to happen. So,
Yes.
things will go away and they come back. The
They'll come.
fashions cycle back, don't they? Right? Fashions dresses which were very much in vogue 30 years ago, they're all coming back.
But
Right? They come back. So this cycling thing keeps on happening. Seasons are cycling, things keep on cycling. So it'll happen. And this is how the Kali Yuga, when Kali Yuga comes, it's not always like a steady decline in things. It's not like that. There will be it's going down, but then it'll go up little, then go down little, like that, So you see waves, it goes like that in waves, like going up, going down, going up, going down, like that. So you have to be, you have to be lucky to be when it is going up in the higher direction like that.
But Mataji, that makes me think that if Kali Yuga is like there is some decline of energy and consciousness, right? But if it is a cycle, then it comes as Satyuga, right? So something
Yes.
powerful must have happened from like discharge of the battery to full charge, right?
What happens? Yeah. What happens to full charge? What makes it to how does it become a full charge?
I mean, there will be destruction, right? And
yeah, the averages improve.
yeah.
Right? Yes. But very nice observation that the averages improve by removing the bad. So Krishna comes as Kalki and he removes the bad. I mean, things are going to be, decline is going to be so much in Kali Yuga that, I mean, truthfulness will be gone. So all the four legs will be completely gone, morality, etc. Everything will be gone. Kali Yuga will be so bad that meat eating will become so rampant. There will be no grains left. There will be no grains and fruits. I don't know how people are going to survive, but they say that they will eat their own children. Human beings will eat their own children, just like animals do. Like snakes can eat their own children. Lion can eat its own child, like that, right? So human beings will also start eating their own children. Lifespan is going to become very small. 30 years will be the, lifespan, how long they will live. So you can imagine in those 30 years, they have to do their eating, meeting, mating.
Compared to last Satyuga, our age is very less, like 400, 500 years, like that.
Yeah. So, and then height will also reduce. And they say that, if a person is 3 feet tall, they'll be like, oh, he's a tall guy, like that. But if you look, so it also decreases everything from the Satyuga to Treta, and then to Dwapar, and then to Kali Yuga. They all decrease by factors of 10. So if the lifespan is 100 now in Satyuga, it's not even that. But if it's 100, it used to be 10 times more in Dwapar that went, which was 1,000 years, and then 10 times more in the previous year, like that. 10,000 years in Treta, and then even 10 times more, so 100,000 years. And it's not even that. This is why on these planetary systems, but then on higher planetary systems, it's even higher, right? For example, Bharat Maharaj ruled for 10 million years, the one who became Kabir, right? Yeah. So like that by our calculation. So it depends on which part of the planetary system you are, the age is, is comparatively higher and lower and things like that.
With that circumstances and then mindset also, it changes, because for us, living 50 years, 70 years, 100 years, we think, oh God, how can we live? It's too much. And other circumstances also, with old people, it's not that pleasant anymore.
Yes. When things are not pleasant, then you should leave a place which is not pleasant, right? Or make endeavors that it's an unpleasant place, having understood it. So we should try to go back, right? Just try to go back to Godhead. That should be the strongest thing. That my aim should be to go back to Godhead. Get out, not just go back to Godhead. Our aim should more be on, let me get out of this cycle of birth and death. this cycle. And when I mean by cycle, the cycle is coming because of my desires and because of the karmic reactions. It's the cycle, because of those, when I come here, that kind of coming. Because Prabhupada also came to this planet, right? He didn't come because of unfulfilled desires, or he didn't come here because of karmic reactions. He came on a special project. So just saying that, I want to go back to Golok and I'll never ever come back here is not something that the devotee says. Devotee just says that, just, let's just get out of this cycle of birth and death. Let me just focus on Krishna. And then after that, Krishna doesn't matter. Whatever you do with me, wherever you put me, I'm willing to go and serve you. And actually, when people are liberated, it's not that they directly go back to Godhead straight away like that. So if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks, and also the Brihad Bhagavatamita, you will see that Gopa Kumar, so when he's liberated and he finally goes to Golok Vrindavan, but he doesn't go straight away like that. He's first roaming in this material planet. He goes to various places because he's asking some questions. And then he goes to Vaikuntha, and then finally he reaches Golok Vrindavan like that. And when he reaches there, the first thing Krishna says is, why did it take you so long? So that is the intensity with which Krishna is missing us. He said, why did you wait so long? And other places in Bhagavatam, you also read that when a soul is liberated, it won't just go straight out of this and then go to the Vaikuntha planets. It might just go to another universe where Krishna is performing his pastimes. And he'll take birth as in a human body, or whatever body is required for that pastime. And then he will work with Krishna on that pastime, and which is his practice for doing that pastime up there in Golok Vrindavan, like that. So that's how, people will go back to Godhead. And then, of
I
course,
wish I would have like that. I've got pastimes to know. I want to spend with him.
you'll be cooking for Madhu. Madhu Mangal.
If he likes, I don't mind, Mataji.
Mataji, but does that also depend on the mood in which you want to serve Krishna and your desire, like
Yes.
which rasa you
I love to do.
Yeah,
I love to
yeah.
feed people.
Yes, and so that is something that you will discover as you go into bhakti. Right now we are doing Vaidehi bhakti, so we don't know. We can only speculate and we can pretend and things like that. But once we go to the next layer of devotional service, where it becomes Raganuka, Raganuka bhakti, which is that you are doing it spontaneous. It is not under the guidance of a spiritual master. It's not like, it's 15 now, 16 round. It's not like that. You want to get up, and the first thing that you want to do is, I want to chant because I like chanting. I want to serve Krishna, like that. So the mood completely changes from Vaidehi bhakti to Raganuga bhakti, and so when you do that, when you reach the spontaneous devotional service space, then you also, your swarup starts to be unfolded to you. You slowly start knowing who you are up there. And knowing who you are, then you will also start following, and this is from Nectar of Devotion, you will also start following an appropriate person in the spiritual world. For example, if you get to know that I am a servant, I'm a servant of a servant, right? So there are gopis, and those who serve the gopis, who assist gopis in serving Krishna. So there's Radharani, the topmost gopi. Then there are layers of higher priority gopis, and the other gopis like that. And then gopis have got servants. And what are those servants called?
Manjaris.
Manjaris.
There you go. And talking about Manjaris, I wanted to quickly share something here with you. Let me stop sharing this screen. Yeah. Okay. Am I sharing things with you? Not yet, right? Okay. Share. It's forcing me to share something, but I can cancel the sharing now. Maybe, yeah, it'll come out of it. Okay. Yeah. So when you know that you're a servant of a servant, then you will start following that person. Just to give an example, and that is that you realize that you are a Manjari of the famous Rupa Manjari, right? So Rupa Manjari came here to this world recently, and she came as what?
Rupa.
Go ahead, Mataji.
That's okay. Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami, right? So then you know that my Swaroop is to be serving Rupa Manjari over there. Then you will, in your mind, you will be following Rupa Manjari in everything that you're doing. Your meditations will be there. And you with Rupa Manjari, you will be serving Krishna in your mind like that. But here, in front of all others, you won't do that. In front of all others, you will be following Rupa Goswami like that. Right? So you will discover your Swaroop. It happens. It's going to happen.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I just wanted to share a few things here with you. Let me just bring it up about Manjaris. So here, I want to share my screen. I want to share my desktop number 2. I hope. Yeah, here we go. We're sharing. And what do you think about this?
Oh, I love that.
Best picture ever.
Best picture ever. Look at the manjaris. They are so fresh, isn't it?
Fresh.
Look at the tulsi. And look at the flowers, right? Look at the right of flowers. It's just a right of colors. It's such a feast for the eyes, isn't it? You look at that and it's like, oh wow, look at this. Look at the lotus feet. Look at the lotus feet, Lord, right? Look at this. Govardhan. Govardhan. Nij nikat nivaso dehi govardhanastvam. Look at the fresh fruits from the orchard. Look at this, Laddu Gopal. Look at the flowers. Look at the manjari. Look at the flowers here. The sakhis. Look at that. Look at Srila Prabhupada. Look at that. Look at these flowers. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Look at this close up of Narasimha Dev, and you see some more manjaris here. You see some more manjaris here. Look at this. What do you say about that?
Transcendental.
Isn't it?
Is that Ishwari Radha Mataji's?
Correct, for 700 points.
Yeah, she had sent earlier. So
yeah, amazing, amazing. It takes some time to dress up an altar like that, right? A lot of effort. So thank you so much, Ishwari Radha Mataji, for
Thank you, Mataji. It is all the inspiration of all the devotees who are very, very dear to Lord Krishna. And they're always
really, Mataji, you had shown last time also. It was beautiful, beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Mataji.
Yeah, that's samadhi. Yeah, when you do that, that's samadhi, you know. Hours, because then you start meditating on, like you look at a flower and you then start thinking, where on the altar will it go? How will I do the matching? You know, I have to pluck the flower, now this fruit, that fruit, you know, this manjari goes this way, this manjari goes that way. It's an art by itself. Yeah, it's amazing. Good.
And Krishna is so kind, Mataji, that almost every day he gives me this time, at least like an hour or so, you know, just to prepare everything.
Yes.
And sometimes when I dress the deities, it takes 2 hours.
Yes.
Easy. But it's like most peaceful and beautiful, and nobody's bothering me at that time. I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's a blissful time of the day. Yeah. Yeah.
Blissfulness attracts blissfulness time, right? So
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Your desire to do seva is attracting this. So.
Yes.
Exactly. And then also, you know, these are the choices that you make in life. How do you want to spend your time? It's a conscious choice. It's not that, you know, it was a conscious choice that I want to do this, because I'm pretty sure Ishwari Radha has so many choices there up in Florida, right? Ishwari Radha, you can go to the beach and spend 2 hours there every day. But you choose
yeah, people are actually going now too, even though they're not allowed to, you know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is the thing. This is our rebellious nature. So it doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all that, you know, if this thing happens, we are the bunch of us who are here. We are rebels. We do not like to listen to Krishna and his rules. So by nature, we are rebel. So if you go and tell them not to do this thing, it's like, how can you tell me how not to do that? I am something. Don't you know who I am? There's a false ego which is there. which prevents us from, listening to any reasonable talk, in any reasonable conversation. We will not allow others to do that.
Mataji, it is curfew here in Pune. And we can't open the window because there's so much of noise of the road. So much of traffic is still going, coming.
Curfew, yeah. I heard a
What
little
kind
about
of
that.
curfew is this?
Yeah.
1,800 people, Mataji.
Yeah.
Only in Pune.
Yeah. It's a rebellious nature. Don't want to surrender to anything. And this is Kali Yuga, right? This is Kali Yuga, that the brain power is so dead that even if it's something that is meant for your own good, we don't want to listen to it. And all that I want is enjoyment. I mean, my husband was telling me that these days, like, how we in USA, I don't know whether it's there in India also, but in USA, we have this concept of Airbnb. That is, people rent a room in their houses and they will give you bed and breakfast. And that's it. You charge them some money and people live there. It's cheaper than some of the hotels. And then it's convenient also because they allow you to
in India also.
They're doing that in India also? Okay, fine. So, and so we have come a long way from the concept that Atiti Devo Bhava, where everybody would, would consider, even if you came without any appointment, they were considered treated like a god, and then taken care of. To now,
in India, that is one thing. We don't tell anybody that we're coming for food or we're coming there like that. No appointment, nothing. No formality.
Yeah.
And at the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the night also we visit others.
Yeah.
So that is, and then if anybody comes like noon time, that is what we say, Atiti Devo Bhava. Without taking food, we don't allow them to go.
Yeah.
And then there is a concept that, if you say lunchtime, if anybody comes, if you say, no, you feel uncomfortable, even suddenly, they want us to have lunch. They say, no. If you say no at that time, you won't get food all day. That's what they say. Lunchtime, if you say, if you go to anybody's house, they offer something, eat it. But if you say no, it won't come. That's what they say.
That's a good reason to start eating. Yeah. So what I was saying was that so we have come a long way from there to the decline in the culture that you see. And one of the things that people used to do is that yesterday it was such a funny thing because yesterday is Saturday, and so we have Guru Maharaj's class that goes till at least 11 o'clock. And it starts at 6:30 in the morning. So I don't have breakfast and I sit through the whole class and I haven't eaten till it's 11 in the morning. And so yesterday I went and I sat down to eat, and I suddenly remembered that, I have not put water to the plants. Because on a regular day, when I'm doing things, the plants are watered first. When I'm making breakfast, something's cooking, I go give water, things like that. So I remember I haven't given water to the plant. And I said, that can wait. I'm feeling so hungry right now. And then I suddenly remembered that people, before they sat down to have prasadam, they would actually go outside and shout and say, call out and say that, does anybody want food? Is there anybody who wants food? And I said, we are not even doing that. So I just said, Shraddha-devi Dasi, at least do this little, go and give water to the plants before you eat. So that's how our mentality has become, just concentrating on our own thing. And so back to the Airbnb or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, whatever is that. So what they are doing here is that they are renting their pools for $350 an hour so that you can come and enjoy. And I'm like, you don't know enough about the coronavirus. You're going into somebody's pool and you're now going inside. And then we're like, no, authorities have said that, if you have put enough chlorine in there, then corona is dead. Like, oh, wow. It's our desire to enjoy. So it can become so intense that I want to satisfy my senses to that extent that I don't even care if I'm going to die. That's what the addicts do, right? Alcoholics. The doctors are saying, don't do it. They will do it. Drug addicts, they will do it.
Smoking.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, our community is, Muslim dominated. You will not believe, so many people are suffering. In our society itself, there are 3 patients. In spite of that, Mataji, they are getting non-veg and cooking and having it. I mean, I can come to know through the smell. You see, I always turn on my exhaust fan so that the smell doesn't come. But Mataji, still they are not leaving it. They are still eating.
I would not just compartmentalize that as a particular people who belong to a particular religion. I think meat eating is so rampant. Everybody eats. I mean, a large percentage of people eat that, and large percent of people are not listening to advice. Yeah. So it's the our inherent tendency to to enjoy. And where were we reading that? I was reading that yesterday. It said that 2 things. It said that desire to have sex and to eat meat are 2 desires of the embodied, very strong desire and very prominent desire of the embodied soul. So, for me, it was an eye-opening thing. I mean, we have understood upon, Pumsa Sriya Mithuna Bhavam Ekam. We talked about how you get into a relationship, man and women, and then the knots in the heart, they get tied, and then you just think this is me and this is mine. So we understood that, mating is a big thing. But meat eating, which is also a regulative principle, no meat eating, is also a regulative principle. It said that is also a strong tendency of the embodied soul to do that, which is an alert and an alarm to all of us, in the sense that that is another of the dangers that we should watch out for. If this is a tendency of the embodied soul, and we all are embodied souls, that even if today we are vegetarians, we could slip and fall and become a non-vegetarian.
Oh no.
We even know that, right? So just be very, very careful.
I don't think most of them they can go for non-veg.
Mataji,
You're vegetarian.
You are very kind. A lot of people who come from India, especially who are vegetarians, they come here and they start eating meat.
Oh God.
Yeah. Everything has got eggs in it, and then they come like, oh yeah, eggs. Yeah, I eat eggs if they are a cake. Yeah. I can eat eggs if cake has got it.
We don't.
It's like like if you wrap and give me poison, I'm going to eat it because I can't see it, right? What I can't see.
Without knowing, that's
medicine, Mataji. You have to read each and every ingredient. To make sure, I sometimes even have to call up the company to make sure that it doesn't have any any animal product,
and they are reluctant to tell you,
because they will write a proprietor blend, and then they don't write, they are not obliged to
obligated.
And then you have to read their patents to make sure it doesn't have
that. Right. And so who is making these rules? That whether you're obligated to declare or obligated to not declare, it's the same set of people who elect the government.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Even fish oil like that, there's giving capsules. They say you are this deficiency, you need to take fish oil capsule or something. No, that is not the thing. If we eat normal vegetarian, pure vegetarian food, they have all the ingredients.
Everything that you need, exactly. Om Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamada. Right? So everything that you're sufficient in that. I mean, I remember that once I was having some cholesterol problem, and the doctor said that you take fish oil. I still remember I was on the examination table and I was lying down. She was standing next to me and she said, yeah, so I'm going to write. She had a paper and pencil. She said, okay, I'm going to subscribe some fish oil and you should take that. And I said, no, doctor, I won't take fish oil. And then she said, do you know you die if you do that? And I still remember, I was lying on the bed and I said, oh, that's fine. But I won't take fish oil.
At my workplace, they used to say, you don't know, Vijaya, what you're missing if you don't eat non-vegetarian. I said, from childhood, I didn't even taste it. So I don't feel that I'm missing something.
Don't you miss? Don't you feel? Yeah.
I told, at my workplace, I was having this discussion with someone and I told them, you don't know what it is blessing to have a life and not take a life. You don't know what you are missing.
Yes, exactly. And then, threat of heart attack and threat of, this and cancer and things like that.
I mean, I honestly told them, I cannot take a life to have a life.
Yeah, clear, very clear. Very, very, very clear on that. Yeah. So here was the funny thing that, when I said, it doesn't matter to me, I will not take fish oil. She said, okay, then I will prescribe some flaxseed capsules for you. And then when I read the, so we went to Costco, and there was fish oil and there was flaxseed oil also, capsule, same, they look the same. And then on the flaxseed, then it said that it had 3 times more of the whatever omega-3 fatty acids that were required. There were 3 times more in flaxseed oil than it was in fish oil. But they will not tell you. So that's the way. So you can see that where the demons are penetrated, they are there, even there as a person who's supposed to save your life is giving you wrong advice.
This is my biggest learning, Mataji. For everything, there is a vegan substitute out there. It's just that we don't know and they don't want to tell.
They don't want to tell. That is the thing, that they don't want to tell. And then, of course, as you go into nitty-gritties, you look at the capsules. Now you have to be careful. Capsules have got gelatin in it. And then, you'll be in trouble from having that. So then, okay, can I just have flaxseed powder? Well, yeah, it's there. And same Costco, it's there in that other section. You just have to walk a few steps. And so there's a little bit of a due diligence. You have to do a little bit of exercise that you have to do. And the book Higher Taste, which is a fantastic book, if you haven't read it, it talks about, they ask a question, like, from where do you get your proteins? Then your non-vegetarian, protein.
That's what they ask.
Yes, so then you have to come to the facts. Like, okay, yes, I need my proteins. Now let's get to the facts. How much of protein do we need? How much of proteins do you need? Too much of proteins is also not good for the body. And how much of protein you need is you can get sufficiently from your dal and from your paneer.
Dal, yeah, that's what I used to say.
Yeah, so that's how life is. They do not want you. Yeah, surrender is a difficult thing. Yeah, so let's go to surrender. Let's go to this. Sadhya, who is next in line to read? Who read? Do you remember? Varshana Mataji, did you read?
Yes, Mataji, I read, but I want to read it. Read the if whosoever is the turn, if she allows me to read.
Go ahead, Mataji. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I want to.
Thank you.
Now, next time when it is your turn to read, you should remember to give it back to Soni Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, I will do that.
Yeah, you keep that goal. I won't. Yeah. Okay.
Sakrat eva prapanno yas tvasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamye etad vratam mama.
Okay. How do you feel?
I'm feeling good, Mataji.
You're feeling good?
If you say if it is correct, then I'm feeling good.
No. My question was that as you were reading it, how was your feeling? You were comfortable reading every word? You were not comfortable?
Yes, Mataji, I was comfortable reading every word. And I was paying. I'm practicing. I think in 2-3 days time, I will be able to recite it better.
Better. Okay, good. Keep going at it. Keep going. Okay, good.
Thank you, Soni Mataji.
There you go. You owe it big time to Soni Mataji.
No, Mataji.
If you don't give it back, then both of you are coming back.
It's so nice to hear from you, Mataji. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Synonyms.
Yeah.
Sakrat, once only.
Okay, Sakrit, right?
Sakrit, once only. Eva, certainly. Prapannaha, surrendered. Yaha, anyone who. Twa, yours.
Okay, let's stop here. Let's stop here.
Tava.
Tava hota hai roti banane wala. Tava. Okay.
Tava, yours. Asmi, I am. Iti, thus. Cha, also. Yachate, praise. Abhyam, fearlessness. Sarvada, always. Tasmi, unto him. Dadami, I give. Etat, this. Vratam, wow. Mama, my.
Very nice, right? Just one small thing here. Try this again one more time. Looking at
Tasmai.
it. Tasmai. Tasmai, right? Not tasmai, tasmai.
Tasmai.
Unto him. Okay. Translation. Who's going to give us the translation? Kathy? Is that you? What happened to Kathy? Do we have her?
Yes, Mataji, but she's on mute. Khyati Mataji.
Okay, can Mansi read maybe?
Hey!
Hare-
yes.
Oh, Mansi Mataji is here, so she can read.
No, Mataji, you can go ahead.
No, your turn, Mataji. You read, I can read afterwards.
Okay. Translation. It is my vow that if only one seriously surrenders unto me, saying, "My dear Lord, from this day I am yours," and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on.
Very nice. Okay. Few reflections on this.
The Lord is so
I'm all
kind.
here.
You courage, even if you request once, even if you say surrender yourself once, he gives you the courage. If you ask for the courage, he gives you the courage.
Okay, good. So I have got few reflections from the Facebook. They are from the previous discussion. I just don't want to ignore that. And so let's just see. We have Pramod Kumar watching us. Thank you. The defiance is that I find when I try to talk about a book. Yes, Sadhna Mataji, very true. Yes, when you start to talk about Bhagavad-gita, Bhagavatam to them. And then we have Arugni Mataji. I hope I'm pronouncing the name properly, but it's or Arujni. I don't know which one, but Mataji, you have to tell me one day. So we have, she says that Airbnb is available worldwide. Good. Yes, thank you for letting me know about that. And then welcome Namaste Mataji. And Sadhana Mataji is telling us that black cumin per Ayurveda. Okay, black cumin is also good for the, the flaxseed and that kind of solutions. Okay, and then there are vegetarian capsules also. Yes, vegetarian capsules made out of rice husk. There are vegetarian capsules. They're also available. We just need to ask, right? And then incredible, just surrender to Krishna. That's it. Incredible. Yes, incredible, but difficult to do. Yeah, Aruni is how you pronounce her name. Thank you so much for doing that, right? And Achyuta Radhe is saying that she cannot hear the sound. Achyuta Radhe, please let us know. Type a yes or a no if you can hear or not hear, like that. Okay, let's go back here to the surrender verse. Anything else that comes to your mind?
It is seriously surrender, actually. It's not just surrendering, but
Yes.
serious about that.
Yes. Today surrendered, tomorrow not surrendered, surrendered in the morning, not surrendered in the afternoon, surrendering in between two impious acts.
Saying something, doing something else.
Yeah.
I'm all yours, Mataji. I was thinking about what we were discussing earlier, that how the true devotee is not just asking for liberation and not want to come back, but if that's Krishna's wish, we are happy to come back to this. So basically, I'm all yours, and you do whatever you like to.
Yeah. Yes, very, very nice citation. Sarvdharman Parityaja. Yeah. What else is there? Anything else? Suyash, Prabhu, are you in a position to share the screen for Bhagavad-gita?
I will have to leave at 7:30, maybe 7:35. So by that time we should be done.
Okay. So let's get started so that everybody will have a chance to read.
Is it visible, Mataji?
Yes.
I will start. Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
Text 3. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship?
Text number 5. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Text number 6. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Hare Krishna.
Text 9. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Text 11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Text 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
Text 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body to death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Text 14. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They rise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Krishna. Am I supposed to read other one too?
We are doing 2 each.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Who goes after Vijay? Is it Varshani today?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Prabhuji, me?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I thought I'm after Soni Mataji. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Text 16. Those who are seers of truth have concluded that the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Hare Krishna.
Text 70. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Text 18. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Text 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not nor is slain. Text 20. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Text 21. O Parth, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Text 22. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Your turn, Shraddha Mataji.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Text 26. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty aunt.
Text 27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Text 28. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Hare Krishna.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30. O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Hare Krishna.
Text 31. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Text 32. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Text 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Soni Mataji, you can take my turn now.
Okay, Mataji. Text 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Text 36. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
Hari Bol. Verse text 27. Are you in a position to share? It's 35, 34, 734.
She will be there, Mataji.
Mansi is going to be there? Okay.
I will read and go.
He wants to read the Sanskrit shlok, Mataji. He will not leave that.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहारेर अर्थे नात्वं सोचितुम् अर्हसि.
Very nice, very nice. So, so Varshana Mataji, your desire to read Sanskrit verses is spreading. The infection is spreading. Good. Very good. Who goes next?
My turn, Mataji.
Okay.
Tatasya, of one who has taken his birth. He, certainly, Dhruva, a fact. Mrityuh, death. Dhruvam, it is also a fact. Janma, birth. Mritasya, of the dead. Cha, also. Tasmat, therefore. Aparihare, harye, of that which is unavoidable. Arthe, in the matter. Na, do not. Tvam, you. Sochitam, to lament. Shochitam, to lament.
Shochitum. Shochitum.
Sochitam,
Sho. It's a
Sho.
SH. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shochitum.
Shochitam, to lament. Arhasi, deserve.
Very nice.
Your turn, Mataji.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
One has to take birth according to one's activities of life. And after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order.
The battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event. And to fight for the right cause is the duty of a Kshatriya. Why should he be afraid of or aggrieved at the death of his relatives, since he was discharging his proper duty? He did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subjected to the reactions of sinful acts, of which he was so afraid. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action.
Very bold. So, reflection.
If the Krishna's will is there, it will become inevitable.
Yes. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. Krishna's will prevails. Good. What else? Anything else that came to your mind?
Choosing the right path of duty is also, it should be considered.
Should be considered, and he stresses upon that, right? And he also says that in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, right? Yeah, don't try to dodge, twist, and turn out of the duty. Okay. And which is very interesting, because sometimes when we start going into devotional service, the very first thing that comes to our mind is that, you know, maybe I should just stop working, whatever I'm doing. Maybe I don't have to do this. I can just sit in one corner, I can chant and don't do my duty like that, right? But you have to do work. Work has to be done. The only thing is that your mood has to change, right? Your mood has to change in which you are working. Because most of the times when you're working, we are looking at the results of the action. We are looking at, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to enjoy this because of the results that I'm going to get. So that mood has to change from wanting to do work for our own enjoyment to doing work for Krishna and doing it according to the Shastric injunctions, right? So here, if you look at chapter number 6, which we recently concluded, right? We recently concluded doing chapter number 6 in our Bhagavad-gita classes on Tuesday, where it opens up with talk about the work. So let me just see if I'm sharing the right thing with you. Can you all see that? What do you see on your screens?
Yes, Mataji.
Right? Okay.
Mataji. Mataji, can I leave? I had to cook.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Sorry. Thank you very much for Hare
yeah,
Krishna.
yeah. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Mataji.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, you're lucky to be able to do service to the Lordships. Okay, so here, this is chapter on Dhyan Yoga, and then Supreme Personality of Godhead says that one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he's obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he's a true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So you see, later on also, Krishna will be emphasizing on the fact that you have to do it as duty. You have to do that, right? Right? And then in text number 3, he says that for one who is a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, so you're just starting, work is to be the means. You have to work, right? It's only when you are very much elevated in the yoga system, then you can cessate all the material activities that you're doing and say that I don't want to do anything, which is also known as the Ajagar Vritti. Like a python, the python just stays there and, will eat something and then just stay there. Won't move and go out for hunting for things, right? If animal comes across, it will eat it and then stay like that. So people, when they reach higher stages of yoga, they start doing that. And Srimad Bhagavatam talks about Rishabh-dev, who is a plenary incarnation of the Lord. He did that. So he came here to teach mystic yoga and basically how he came here to teach many things. His teachings to his sons are famous and very amazing teachings. But he also taught. By the way, Rishabh-dev is the father of Bharat Maharaj. So Rishabh-dev also came there to explain to the yogic people who are following yoga that how they should not get deviated because they get the mystic powers, but they should just, let go of them and just stay and do their thing. So he also used to just stay at one place. People used to come and throw stone at him. They would, gargle and throw the bad water at him. And this just goes to show that how bad human beings can get to, with a perverted mind. But he just stayed there doing his own thing like that. So at a higher stage, one can think of doing that. But in the beginning of his life, Rishabh-dev was a king, and he did perform his kingly duties. He was also a father of 100 sons, and he did perform his duty of taking care of the 100 sons and instructing them. And his instructions are very nicely depicted in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So duty has to be done, has to be performed. And then I had mentioned in my previous discussion on this particular verse was that Krishna is telling Arjuna not to lament, right? So what do you think is lamentation? When he's saying don't lament, what does it mean, lament? From your personal life experience, what is lament?
Mataji, I don't know if this is correct, but could it mean that you feel bad about something that you've done and now you're lamenting that, I shouldn't have done this, like that?
Yes, when you feel bad about it and you are and you're saying it, you can lament. Yeah, lament is you are expressing your grief. So if you're grieving because of something that you did, then it will come under the category of lamentation. But usually when you do something bad and you are feeling bad about it, there's another word for that, right? You feel remorse, right? Remorse is the word that which is paschyatap in Sanskrit, right? Paschyatap. So you're doing paschyatap. I should not have done that. I should not have done that, right? And then when you're expressing that, then you can lament. You see? So remorse is something that is in your mind. And then lamentation is something that you express. And Arjuna did a lot of lamentation, right? Many versefuls of lamentation he did. Kinno rajena govinda, king bhoger jivitena va, tesham arte kanchinam no. Like that, right? So he went on and on and on. He was lamenting. So Krishna has been emphasizing a lot on the fact that the soul does not die. And now the body is definitely going to die. So like that, and he's constantly telling him, don't lament, don't lament, don't lament, right? So that was something there. Manasi Mataji, if you can bring up the verse one more time for us. There was also the word dhruvam that was mentioned there, right? Dhruvam. So when we say the word dhruv, what comes to your mind?
Dhruv Maharaj.
Dhruv Maharaj, right? So what was the characteristic of Dhruv Maharaj?
He was determined.
Was determined, right? He was determined to do that, right? So we use the word dhruv usually to express determination. Now let's look at this particular verse and see what is the translation given for dhruv.
It is also a fact.
It is also a fact, yes, Manasi, right? And then it comes again. 2 times it is used, right? Jatasi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So it's using the word dhruva, dhruva 2 times. So you should be determined. And if you want to talk about determination, I have got a feedback here from Facebook. And this is that, if you're determined that I'm going to think about Krishna, and Vijaya Mataji was telling us yesterday in the Saturday evening class, she was saying that she feels bad. She feels bad because, was it Vijaya Mataji? She said she feels bad because I want to think about Krishna all the time and not able to do it. So I was telling her to reduce her goals and make them smaller, shorter goals, and then she'll be able to remember Krishna. So that is a goal. And then if you are determined that I'm going to think about Krishna, you will think about Krishna all the time. And you'll try to find ways of how you can think about Krishna. So here we have a very, very determined Namazaya Mataji who's watching us on Facebook. And she says that, we should think about Krishna even when you are filling gas in your car, like that. Right, which is such a nice, such a nice thought and such a nice way of thinking about it, and very explorative. This shows determination that I want to think, because most of the times we are saying that my husband doesn't allow me to think. He's demanding things. My children don't allow me to think. They are this and that, right? They're fighting and I have to go there. But you have to really look at pockets. You have to really look at pockets of time during the day that you really do get when nobody can come and bother you, right? And I'm forgetting whether it was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj or whether it was Jagannath Prabhu Maharaj. I'm forgetting between the two, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj or Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, which of the two, but one of them. So what happens is when you're exalted devotee, then people, the general public has adoration for you, and then they think that you can solve all their problems. So they will come and they'll talk to you about their problems. And, because they are also soul suffering, they need relief. So they'll go and talk. And people would talk to him all the time. They would not let him go and not let him do his thing, and which was chanting. See, he wanted to chant. And so what he used to do was he used to go to the toilet and sit in the toilet, and then he would chant like that. So if you're determined that I'm going to do this, then nobody can stop, because there are places that people won't follow or will not want to follow, right? But then the public, got a smell of that as well, and then a hint of that. And then they would not let him be free there also. They stand outside and start asking questions like that. So, but, yes, Namaste Mataji, very good, even when putting gas in our car or any other activity, think of Krishna 24/7. So you can always do that, right?
That was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj.
Mataji.
I remember that story.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So that's something, that determination has got to be there. And the main thing that is being brought about over here, and which we have to remember, is that everything that has got a birth is going to die. So when we are born, we are already born with the sentence that you are going to die. It's a fact. And it says, Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara, right? Verse number 13. Tatra dehantar praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. So if you are a sober person, then these death and birth should not bewilder you. And always remember that when there is birth, there is death. When there is death, there is going to be birth again. And each is a result of the other. Because you are born, that's why you will die. And because there was the death, then a birth has to happen again. And it is a fact, it will happen. So talking about birth, right? Can you give me some examples of births that are discussed in our Shastras? Do you remember any birth in the Shastras? One birth is coming very soon in August. Very famous birth.
Janmashtami, Krishna Janm.
Janmashtami.
Krishna Janmashtami.
Right? So what was peculiar about his birth?
He was born in
a jail.
Yeah, he was born in a jail. So now Was his birth related to any deaths?
Yes.
Cons.
Yes, he wanted to kill Kans.
All 6 of his siblings.
All 6 of his siblings were killed, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And then even before that, what happened? Was there some smell of birth, a smell of death, a hint of death, but that was mentioned during a very auspicious occasion?
Devki's
Yes. When she got married, he was about to kill her when he heard the voice. Kansu heard the voice that her child will be, 8th child will kill you. So that is the time he was about to kill her. Then Vasudev saved her. Vasudev saved her.
Vasudev, yes, not Vasudev. Vasudev.
Yes, Vasudev
Right.
saved her.
Vasudev saved her. And so you see, and what was happening at that time when all this happened? What was Kansa doing?
Kansa was taking Devaki and Vasudev to their home.
To their home. And how was he taking?
In a chariot.
In a chariot. What was he doing on the chariot?
He was the charioteer.
He was a charioteer, right? Because he loved his sister so much, right? That he decided that I'm going to drive the chariot. So he had the reins in his hands, right? And after he hears the Akashvani, then he drops the reins from his hands. And what does he catch?
Her hair.
Her hair.
Krishna.
Right?
In a split second.
In a split second, you see how the thought of death, how the thought of your own death can change things so quickly, 180 degrees, from the sister whom you loved so much, whom you could not bear to be separated from. And so you were driving her that last mile also. So, okay, she's going to go away. Let me go with her, like that. So, but it's only, so we try to avoid death. We don't like death. We try to avoid. Do you have some examples from scriptures of people trying to avoid death?
Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyakashipu. So what did he do?
He asked.
He wanted to kill his own son. Yeah.
No. How did Hiranyakashipu avoid death? That's the question.
He asked boon to not die in certain circumstances.
Okay. So to whom did he ask? So, okay. So how did the boon come? Did he have to do anything to get the boon, or did the boon just
He did
come?
a lot of austerities.
For how many years? Call of Duty. You have to go. So I'm just kidding. So
Is it 10,000 years?
Yeah, many more than that. 10,000.
Many more.
Ravana. Yeah, Ravana did 10,000. He did for about 35,000 years. Yeah. So it's a different yuga, right? So yeah, so he did. Hiranyakashipu did it for 35,000. To whom was he praying? Brahma. Right? He was praying Brahma. And then then Brahma comes and gives him the boon. What does Brahma say?
He said it is not possible because even I have to die, so I cannot give you this boon.
Give you this boon, right? Yeah. So then so then was Hiranyakashipu satisfied with that? What did he do then?
No, he wasn't satisfied. He still wanted the boon.
So what did he do?
So then Brahma gave him the boon, but Krishna, he knew how to handle it.
Hiranyakashipu twisted his words.
Okay, yes, I was looking for that. Yeah, so he said, let us go through the fine print then. Okay. So what were so he came up with something like, I should not be killed by any
weapon.
I should not be killed by a human being. I should not be killed in land, water, or sea. I should not be killed in the morning or evening, like that, right? So he came up with all this, but then you see that he ultimately died. So people come up with all kinds of things, right? All kinds of examples, all kinds of fine print on how to avoid death. But that is what Krishna is telling in this particular verse, that death is not avoidable. He's saying it is going to happen. It is going to happen. and it will happen in amazing, amazing words. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. If Krishna has decided that this such and such a person is going to be killed, and he has got his own retinue of his board of directors and his managers who are managing his material world, and they will take care of it, right? So there's a very interesting verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that I'll just bring it up over here, and my favorite. I keep on bringing it up again, and that's because it is such a fantastic verse. And this is, Shukdev Goswami is speaking in Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj in the second canto, in the beginning of the second canto, he's saying. And whose turn is it to read?
My turn, Mataji.
All right, go ahead. This is second canto, first chapter, verse number 4, 214.
Dehapatya kalatradeshva atma sainyeshva asataswapi tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati.
Very good. Who is next there? Next in line to read.
Me, Madhu. Deha, body. Apatya, children. Kalatra, wife. Adishu, and in everything in relation to them. Atma, own. Sainyeshu, fighting soldiers. Asatshu, fallible. Api, in spite of. Tesham, of all of them. Pramataha, too attached. Nidhanam, destruction. Pashan, having been experienced. Api, although. Na, does not. Pashyati, see it.
After Manasi, then I have to go, Manasi, now? Suresh is not there?
Yeah, Khyati
Mataji, I think we missed Varshana Mataji, Sonia Mataji.
And Khyati, please finish. Yeah, please go ahead.
So Varshana Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah, so you all have got one big paragraph here, like that, and then a few more paragraphs. Yeah, so you can go. Varshana Mataji, let's go. Get started.
Translation. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not. Mataji, it has changed. Purport, it has come. Hare Krishna Mataji, the translation is gone. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. Hare Krishna.
Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The material world is called the world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma, whose duration of life is some thousands of millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only, is struggling for existence. Therefore, this life is sort of fight with the material nature which imposes death upon all. In human form of life, a living being is competent enough to come to an understanding of this great struggle for existence. But being too attached to family, members, society, country, etc., he wants to win over the invincible material nature by the aid of bodily strength, matter by dint of bodily strength, children, wife, relatives, etc. Okay, next person can read.
Khyati Mataji, please go ahead now.
Okay. Although he is sufficiently experienced in the matter by dint of the past experience and previous examples of his disease predecessor, he does not see that the so-called fighting soldiers like the children, relatives, society members, and countrymen are all fallible in the great struggle. One should examine the fact that his father or his father's father had already died, and that he himself is therefore also sure to die. And similarly, his children, who are the would be fathers of their children, will also die in due course. Shraddha Mataji, you can read. No
No
one.
one will survive in this struggle with material nature. The history of the human society definitely proves it. Yet, the foolish people still suggest that in the future they will be able to live perpetually with the help of material science. This poor fund of knowledge exhibited by human society is certainly misleading, and it is all due to ignoring the constitution of the living soul. This material world exists only as a dream due to our attachment to it. Otherwise, the living soul is always different from the material nature. Okay, next can read. Next person can read.
The great ocean of material nature is tossing with the waves of time, and the so-called living conditions are something like foaming bubbles, which appear before us as bodily self, wife, children, society, countrymen, etc. Due to a lack of knowledge of self, we become victimized by the force of ignorance and thus spoil the valuable energy of human life in a vain search after permanent living conditions, which are impossible in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Our friends, relatives, and so called wives and children are not only fallible but also bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. As such, they cannot save us. Still, we think that we are safe within the orbit of family, society, or country. Hare Krishna.
The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization is like the decoration of a dead body. Everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days, and yet all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration of this dead body. Shukadev Goswami is pointing out the duty of the human being after showing the actual position of bewildered human activities. Persons who are devoid of the knowledge of Atma Tattva are misguided, but those who are devotees of the Lord and have perfect realization of transcendental knowledge are not bewildered.
Right. So, what do you say? Right?
It's truly said, right? The decoration of the dead body.
Yeah.
And we are spending like numerous hours to extend the life, which is also
Yeah.
a false hope.
It's a false hope, isn't it? So, and so people try to adjust. People try to take things in the. One is that they tend to take shelter of the wrong things, right? Deha patra kala deshu, right? So they're thinking my wife can take care of me or my husband can take care of me, like that. Or in the other converse side also, that we might think that I can take care of them. And Prahlad Maharaj says very clearly when he's talking about, when in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that parents might think that we will give medicine to our child and we will save him. But the medicines will not work unless there is a sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the real savior is Krishna, and that's why they say Rakhe Krishna Mare Ke. Mare Krishna Rakhe Ke. Right? If Krishna was determined to kill Hiranyakashipu, then nothing is, he will come. He defied all the nice, he defied the fine print, right, of everything. You're saying don't want to be killed with the weapons. Okay, I'll come with a lion with very big claws, and with my nails I'm going to tear open your body. So like that, it was amazing story of how Krishna's will prevails, always there. And there's also a very interesting story that we think that we can take care. We think that we can take care of and mess up with this worldly order of jatasihi dhruvo mitro, that somebody who's born is going to die, and we think that we can adjust, we can manipulate. So this is a story about how once Vishnu wanted to go to Kailash Parvat, right? So how will Vishnu go to Kailash? Who's going to take him there? If he wants to go to Kailash.
Garud.
Garuda is going to take him, right? That's the Garuda is his driver. So Garuda took him there to Kailash, and then of course he dropped him there, and then Vishnu went. There was a meeting with Shivji. So he went there. So Garuda, like a driver, is sitting outside and he's watching. Now Kailash Parvat is very beautiful. It's very beautiful. And so he was sitting there and he was admiring. And fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has got a very beautiful description of the abode of Lord Shiva. And so he's sitting there, he's admiring, he's watching, and this is so beautiful. Look at the trees, look at this, and admiring the will of God, the creator, and all the kind of thing that is happening. And then he sees that there's a very beautiful tree. And then on top of the tree is a very beautiful bird sitting, and the bird is, chirping with singing with a beautiful sound. And Garuda is a bird. So he sees that bird and he likes the bird and he's just admiring, again goes and admires the Lord for having created such a nice being, right? And then slowly people are coming into the meeting, they're coming in their carriers, other drivers are bringing them, dropping them, and, like that. So Garuda is sitting there, he's enjoying and, looking at people come for the meeting. And then Yamraj comes, So what is Yamraj's vehicle?
Bull. A bull.
Bull?
Or it's buffalo.
Buffalo, right? Yeah. So he comes in a buffalo. So he sits on a buffalo, and then of course he alights on the buffalo and he goes inside. And as he's going inside the room or wherever the meeting is happening, as he's going there, Yamraj, just looks at the bird like that. Now we don't want Yamraj to be looking at us, right? And as he's looking at the bird, he raises one eyebrow. And then, if Yamraj raises an eyebrow, what does that mean? And so he just looks at that quizzically, like that, and raises an eyebrow. And then he goes inside for the meeting. And Garuda watches all this. And then he says he feels so pitiful for the bird. And he says that how can, this poor bird, she's so beautiful and sitting here chirping nicely and beautiful things. And Yamraj is looking at her. I'm pretty sure that as soon as he comes out of the meeting, Yamraj is going to do something to this bird. So let me go and hide this bird. So Garuda is very powerful, right? He can fly very fast. So he picks up this little bird on its wings like that, and then carries her thousands of miles away. And he puts her in a very protected place. There's a river that is flowing, and in the middle of the river there's a huge boulder, there's a big stone over there, and he goes and puts gently puts the bird on the top of that stone. And then he comes back, he feels very happy that he has protected the bird. And then he sits down, comes back to his duty. He's waiting for Vishnu to come. And then the meeting is over and everybody's slowly coming out. And then Yamraj comes out first. And then Garuda says, talks to Yamraj. And then he said that, Yamraj, what did you have in your mind when you looked at that bird? What were you thinking? Because you raised an eyebrow. So then Yamraj says, you know what? I was just thinking that how come this bird is here? This bird is actually supposed to die, but die in a place which is thousands of miles away from here. And it will die, in the middle of a river, sitting on a stone, because a snake is going to come out of the water and eat it. So you see?
Garuda made the arrangement to get there.
If Krishna rakhe, Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna rakhe ke. So we should not try to adjust all these things about birth and death. And that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that you have your duty to do, you fight. Don't lament for this and that. It is bound to happen. Death will happen. And be sure that after that, birth will also happen. Like that, okay? So should we call it a day now? It's past 8 o'clock. I have a meeting at 8:15. You're welcome to stay here till 8:15, till the other people start coming to the meeting.
Did you do breakfast, Mataji?
Breakfast I'll do later, yeah. But I think it's breakfast time for most of you. Yeah. Any last reflection? Any last thought? Yeah. And then Achyuta Radhamati tells us that lamentation means to grieve for something that is lost. Yeah. Something that is lost, something you did not achieve, something like that. And welcome Ronak Chaudhary Prabhuji for joining us, and also Raja Prabhu for joining us on the call. Good to have you here. And Sadhana Mataji says, thank you. Yep, very good. Thank you for joining us all. Yeah.
Mataji, I was actually, my Prabhu was listening to a lecture, so I don't know the name of the person giving the lecture, but I overheard some part of it. And in there, he was talking about that why this earth is called Mrityu Loka, whereas the death and birth and death cycle is in all the planets, even in the Brahmalok and Devalok, but still they are not called Mrityu Loka, but earth is called. And I like the answer. He said that it's because on earth the death is can come at any time, whereas in the higher planets it is fixed. So I was just thinking about that when we were reading this birth and death life cycle.
Right. And then very nice. So then we are in that Martya Loka, right? We say Mrityu Loka in Hindi, and then Sanskrit we say Martya Lokam, right? Yeah. Good point. Anything else you want to share about birth and death? Actually, as soon as a child is born, the child begins to die, right? Cells are dying.
Yesterday we were hearing that sun setting and going day.
Ayur harati vaipamsan udyan astan chayana so, right? Yeah, good citation. That with the rising and setting of the sun, our duration of life gets reduced. Yeah. Good. What else? Anything else? Jayata hi dhruvar mutyur. Dhruva. We also learned a new word for dhruva, right? It also means that it is a fact. It is a fact.
Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe.
Yes, it's a good thing to keep in mind, right? It's a good thing to keep in mind, right?
And this 2-year-old is also very afraid of death.
Is it? Wow. Yeah. And they will be, because they have recently died, right? So that impression is still there. So for kids, it sometimes comes naturally, even if you don't tell them. From previous samskaras, they remember that. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, later on, I was thinking, the other day I told you that Ansh told me that he went and told the teacher that my Nani talks to the God every day. In his house, nobody talks of God. Nobody thinks of God. And how did this come to his mind? So I was just thinking that it is some previous sanskara. If he is given little bit of guidance, he may be able to, you see, that may come up, you see, he may progress in this.
Yes.
Reviving consciousness.
Reviving consciousness, correct. You, Garima, you picked the right word.
Right word, yes. Revive the consciousness. Yeah. See, it's reviving it, you see? It is already there, right? It revives.
It is already there, Mataji.
Nitya Siddhya Krishna Prema Sadhyo Kabhi Noy Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koriyo Udoy. So that it is there with you. It's not something that you achieve, you just revive, as Garima Mataji.
Revive.
Through Shravanadi. Shravan, Kirtana, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanilabha, all those things. But in Kali Yuga, even if you just do the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, that is good enough. Good. So please continue your talking. Because after that revelation that you have, that you talk to God, I think most of us, when we sit down to chant, I also started thinking, like, I better to to God. So thank you for sharing that.
But Mataji, yesterday night, though it was night and I was chanting, but it was a beautiful chanting, Mataji. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because there was no disturbance. Absolutely, there was darkness outside, and I could see some lights outside blinking, and I was enjoying it, Mataji. I was just telling Krishna, please show me one. I mean, for a second molecule, show me yourself.
Wow.
It was a beautiful realization.
A fraction of a second, yeah.
For a fraction of a second, correct.
Yeah.
But it was nice, Mataji.
Yes, yes. And Sadhana Mataji, that's she's a question over there about the story about the Garuda and the flowers. It's not from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, from other Puranas. I don't recall which Puranas, but it's one of those famous stories that are always there, and people, read about that. But Bhagavatam doesn't mention that story.
Mother, you have narrated this story before also, yes.
Yes, I like it. I'm fascinating because I'm always trying to adjust. And then I keep reminding myself, don't try to adjust, there's God there. He has his own plan. Yeah, like that. Okay. All right. So on that note, we will call it a day today. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Have a fantastic rest of the night till we meet again. Actually, today in the evening, we're going to have a fantastic session by Vaisheshika Prabhu at 5:00 p.m. our time. And the Sunday feast lecture. And then that will be followed in less than 12 hours by our Bhagavad-gita class, where we'll start with a new verse number 28. Continuing on with the same concept of that the soul is imperishable and the body does perish there. Like that. Okay? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Vaishnavebhyo Hari Hari Bol.